Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to take a deep and fascinating journey into the world of the Washington quarter dollar, one of the most collected, recognized, and historically significant coins in United States history. A coin that has not only stood as everyday change for millions of Americans over generations, but has also become a treasure trove for collectors, investors, and historians who search for rare dates, error strikes, silver compositions, and auction records that make certain pieces worth far beyond their face value. So let's begin with its origins, because the Washington quarter dollar was first issued in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first president of the United States, who was born in 1732. And Congress approved this coin both as a circulating piece and as a tribute to Washington's enduring legacy, replacing the standing Liberty quarter which had been minted from 1916 through 1930, and the coin's designer was John Flanagan, a sculptor who created the familiar profile portrait of Washington facing left that became iconic and is still recognized by millions even today, though it underwent modifications across different series, the obverse always featuring Washington and the reverse design evolving over time depending on minting eras such as the original eagle reverse, the Bicentennial drummers and torch design of 1976, the State Quarters program launched in 1999, the America the Beautiful Quarters series starting in 2010, and many more, making the Washington quarter not just a single coin design but rather a massive umbrella of collecting opportunities spanning almost a century. Now when we talk about the Washington quarter in terms of composition, we must remember that from 1932 through 1964 these coins were minted in 90% silver and 10% copper, each quarter weighing 6.25 grams with a diameter of 24.3 millimeters and reeded edges, and this silver content is what gives early Washington quarters intrinsic melt value regardless of collector demand, because silver quarters always contain about 0.1808 troy ounces of silver, so when silver prices rise even common date coins fetch premiums, but rarity and condition are what make specific coins reach incredible auction results, such as the rare 1932 D and 1932 S quarters, which are key dates in the series with low mintages of only 436,800 and 408,000 respectively, making them highly sought after by collectors, and high-grade examples of these coins can bring thousands of dollars at auction, especially when certified by third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC, and then you have incredible rarities among later issues such as transitional errors like the 1965 Washington quarter struck on a 90% silver planchet when the mint had officially switched to copper-nickel clad coinage, examples of which have sold for over $7,000 depending on grade, or off-center strikes, double dies, wrong planchets, and other striking anomalies that drive error coin enthusiasts wild. And one of the most famous error quarters is the 1970 S Washington quarter that was accidentally struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter, making it an extraordinary wrong planchet rarity that once fetched over $35,000 at heritage auctions, proving that collectors are willing to pay staggering amounts for mistakes that slipped out of the mint. And speaking of auction records, the Washington quarter series has produced some jaw-dropping sales. For example, a 1932 D Washington quarter graded MS66 by PCGS brought nearly $143,000 at auction because of its superb preservation and rarity, and another highlight includes a 1932 S in top condition which reached six-figure territory, while modern era coins like the 2004 D Wisconsin State quarter with an extra leaf on the ear of corn in both low-leaf and high-leaf varieties have sold for thousands despite being relatively recent issues, demonstrating that collector demand covers both vintage silver issues and modern quirky varieties, making the Washington quarter an exciting series for both new and veteran numismatists. And the beauty of the Washington quarter is that it mirrors U.S. history through its design evolution. For example, the Bicentennial quarter of 1976 with Jack R's colonial drummer boy reverse is one of the most beloved designs in American numismatics, struck in both clad and silver versions, and today nearly everyone in the U.S. remembers seeing or spending these quarters, but high-grade silver bicentennial issues can fetch impressive premiums. And then the massive State Quarters program between 1999 and 2008 introduced 50 different reverse designs celebrating each U.S. state, reinvigorating public interest in coin collecting and producing billions of coins. Yet even here certain errors like double strikes, missing clad layers, and off-metal strikes have become collector favorites, with values ranging from hundreds to thousands of dollars, proving that even in modern circulation one could stumble upon a quarter worth far more than 25 cents. And let us not forget the America the Beautiful series, extending the tradition of varied reverse designs by honoring national parks and landmarks, which also introduced opportunities for collectors to find unique issues, silver proofs, and limited mintages. But beyond all these design changes, the heart of Washington quarters remains in their early silver issues, particularly pre-1965. coins which combine historical appeal, silver bullion value, and scarcity in high grades, making them one of the cornerstones of American coinage collections. And it's important to highlight grading when discussing value because a 1932 D quarter in good condition might sell for $150, but in mint state with full luster and sharp strike it can reach tens of thousands, proving how condition multiplies value exponentially, and collectors use the Sheldon scale from 1 to 70 to measure coin grades. With MS65, MS66, and MS67 examples commanding the most attention at auction, and this is where third-party certification becomes vital since slabs from PCGS or NGC give buyers confidence, so they compete aggressively at auctions driving prices to record levels. And the highest auction price for a Washington quarter so far has exceeded the $140,000 mark, particularly for the 1932 D and 1932 S in superb grades, cementing them as kings of the series, and these legendary sales prove that a simple 25-cent piece can transform into a six-figure collectible with the right combination of rarity, condition, and demand. But collectors also love transitional pieces like the aforementioned 1965 silver quarter error, the 1943 copper penny equivalent in the quarter world, representing one of the most talked-about modern rarities, while varieties like double die obverse, re-punched mint marks, and over mint marks, such as the 1943 D over D, also bring premiums, showing that the Washington quarter is not just about silver bullion or type collecting but also about careful study of minting varieties, and that's what makes them fascinating because collectors can begin with common quarters from pocket change, then slowly advance to silver issues, then chase key dates, and eventually aim for top-graded rarities, a journey that reflects both the accessibility and the depth of the Washington Quarter series, a series that remains one of the most exciting and rewarding in all of U.S. coinage. When we continue our exploration of the Washington quarter dollar, it becomes clear that this coin is not just a monetary object but a timeline of American culture, politics, and artistry pressed into metal, and in Part 1 we looked at its origins and auction highlights, but now let us dive even deeper into its broader significance, how collectors interact with it, and the many hidden gems in this series. Because the Washington quarter is a coin that touches almost every era of modern U.S. history. Having survived the Great Depression, World War II, the silver-to-clad transition of the 1960s, the bicentennial celebrations of 1976, the 50-state quarter revolution that brought millions of new hobbyists into numismatics, and the America the Beautiful program which kept the momentum alive through national park designs. And if we focus first on the early period, we find fascinating stories about silver content, because between 1932 and 1964 quarters were made of 90% silver, meaning they hold intrinsic metal value. So even when silver prices rise to $25 or $30 an ounce, each quarter is worth many dollars just in bullion, but collectors value them far higher depending on date and grade, with the 1932 D and 1932 S at the very top as legendary key dates, while mid-century issues like the 1937 S and 1950 D also attract attention when found in brilliant mint state, and the condition factor cannot be emphasized enough because coins that survived decades of circulation without wear are extremely rare, especially since quarters were heavily used in commerce, so mint state survivors are scarce and command steep premiums. And then when we look at special mint sets, proof issues, and collector strikes, we find another world of rarity because proofs were first produced for the Washington quarter in 1936 with low mintages, and early proofs are highly desirable with mirrored fields and frosted devices, making them standout pieces in any advanced collection. And in terms of record-setting sales, some proofs have fetched tens of thousands at auction depending on their grade, cameo contrast, and preservation, and then of course the highest auction prices within the entire series were achieved by spectacular mint state examples of the 1932 D and 1932 S, where pristine pieces graded MS66 have sold for over $140,000, placing them among the most valuable Washington quarters ever sold, though unique errors like the 1970 S struck on a Canadian coin reaching more than $35,000 also add to the lore of this series, reminding us that even small minting accidents can become legendary treasures when they are confirmed authentic and rare. And speaking of errors, collectors absolutely love searching through Washington quarters for anomalies, whether it is off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, or transitional pieces like the 1965 struck in silver instead of clad, each of which carries enormous premiums, with certain varieties selling for thousands depending on demand. And that demand is constant because the Washington quarter is not just popular in the United States but internationally, as many collectors around the world seek them, especially since the State Quarters program captured global attention by producing more than 34 billion coins across 50 states, turning casual hobbyists into serious collectors. And while most of those coins are common, there are a handful of errors such as the Wisconsin Extra Leaf Quarters from 2004, which became instant sensations and continue to sell for hundreds and even thousands today, depending on grade. So once again we see how the Washington Quarter combines mainstream circulation with high-value opportunities, and the beauty of this series is how approachable it is because a young collector can start by finding quarters in circulation, perhaps a bicentennial design or a state quarter. And that discovery might spark interest that grows into the pursuit of silver issues, proofs, and rare errors, meaning. This coin is a gateway into numismatics unlike any other, and that gateway is filled with history as well because George Washington's portrait has remained a steady feature even while the reverse has evolved, making the coin an evolving tribute to America's first president while also serving as a canvas for modern American culture and art. And when collectors assemble complete sets, whether by date and mint mark, by design type, or by era variety, they are not just collecting coins but curating an entire history of American minting from the early 1930s through the present, which is why Washington quarters are often the centerpiece of U.S. coin collections. And beyond collecting, the investment angle is also significant because silver quarters maintain bullion value, rare dates appreciate steadily, and high-grade coins break auction records, meaning the Washington Quarter has a dual appeal as both collectible and investment, bridging passion and profit, which is why we see so much enthusiasm for them in coin shows, online markets, and auctions. And if we look at modern trends, one of the most fascinating aspects is how era coin hunting has exploded with YouTube channels, TikTok videos, and social media groups teaching people how to spot valuable quarters in pocket change, whether it is double die obverse, spitting eagle errors, or odd die cracks. And this has introduced new generations to numismatics, ensuring the Washington Quarter will remain relevant for decades to come. And perhaps what truly defines this coin is its longevity, because from 1932 until now it has been produced continuously for more than 90 years, adapting through silver, clad, commemorative, state, and park designs, but always remaining the quarter dollar, the coin Americans instinctively recognize and handle daily, and its legacy as both currency and collectible is unmatched in U.S. coinage, meaning that for collectors who desire history, beauty, rarity, and value all wrapped into one series, the Washington Quarter Dollar stands as one of the greatest achievements of the U.S. Mint, and with so many varieties and records still to be broken, the story of this coin is not finished but continues to evolve as new discoveries are made, new errors are found, and new collectors are born, making it one of the most enduring series in the world of numismatics. So whether you are searching for silver pre-1965 quarters, chasing the legendary 1932 D and 1932 S in high grades, or hunting modern state quarter errors in circulation, the Washington Quarter offers excitement, opportunity, and endless fascination, a coin that has touched every American pocket while simultaneously achieving greatness in the auction world. And that is why the Washington Quarter Dollar remains a true icon of U.S. coinage, a coin that began as a tribute to George Washington and has grown into a cornerstone of collecting history. And with that, we conclude our journey into the Washington Quarter Dollar series, a coin of power, prestige, and potential, and I hope you enjoyed this deep dive into its value, its beauty, and its stories. So stay tuned for more incredible coin histories, and as always, thanks for watching.